So Tran, you were diagnosed a couple of years ago with Parkinson's, but you're still working. Can you tell me about where you work?
I currently work for a big retail store. I'm a project coordinator.
And how does Parkinson's affect your day-to-day work?
It's very challenging. Some days it's difficult, some days it's easy. It takes me longer to get ready in the morning, so I have to work later in the day. That helps as well.
Do you get fatigued at work? Do you get very tired?
I do need extra breaks at work, so they give us half an hour and then they give us an hour for lunch. If I require extra break, I'm allowed to do that.
So did you tell people about work when you were first diagnosed, or did you try and sort of hide it for a while?
Well, when I was first diagnosed, it was in 2020, and that's when COVID-19 just started. So on the basis of their advice, I was told to isolate. So I wasn't at work for 3 months when I first diagnosed. And then I asked for occupational health referral to let them know what help I needed to get back into work again. And then I started to work 2 months later.
And did you find they were helpful in terms of getting you back into work?
I guess they didn't really understand what I was going through at the time. So it's very difficult to get that across to my work colleagues, why I was having difficulties at work, what changes needed to be made.
So I used to do an office job. I was an IT consultant, so I was travelling a lot with my job as well.
Yes.
And I worked for about 5 years with Parkinson's. But the one thing I did was I made the decision very early on to tell my employer about it. And then I got referred to occupational health as well. And I found that was really useful because they don't really know at work. I mean, they're not experts in medical conditions. So I felt that I needed to guide them in terms of what support and assistance I needed. I've heard of some people who kind of hide their condition from their employers, and I think that's a really bad idea because then you start to look like you're not performing well, but actually there's a medical reason why. So have you found you had to make some adjustments at work, so hours you work or the type of role that you do?
The adjustments I had to make is that I work later in the day, so not so early in the morning, because I find it difficult to get myself up and ready for work.
Can you work from home, or is that not an option for you?
At the moment I'm in store 5 days a week, but it's something I want to approach them.
During the COVID lockdown, I worked from home for the best part of a couple of years, and I actually found that was really helpful. It was surprisingly, I could be surprisingly more productive from home because of cutting out the travel and just the general stress and so on. And the other advantage of working from home is I found I could take naps and breaks whenever I needed to, and no one really needed to know. But obviously it depends on the job you do. If you're in a job where you're facing clients all the time, then it's much harder to just be at home the whole time.
I guess it gives us more opportunities for people with Parkinson's like ourselves to go out to work and not to feel like because you've been diagnosed with Parkinson's you can't work at all.
That's right, I think that's really important. I got to the point eventually where I couldn't really do my job anymore, but I did have 5 good years, and part of that time I had a flexible working arrangement and I made adjustments like working from home, and that got me through that time, and I was really pleased to be able to work for that long.
Do you think companies these days are more inclined to be more inclusive at work with disability?
I think so. I think certainly large companies try to do the right thing, and everyone's quite aware of disabilities and people with different situations. But I think employers don't necessarily know what a specific condition means, so I think it's important for you to guide them, and occupational health can help with that sometimes. So something I did with my employer, which was a large professional services company, was I set up a network, an informal network in the company for people with long-term health conditions. And what I discovered was that there's all sorts of people living with all sorts of things. So people living with multiple sclerosis, had cancer treatment, people with caring responsibilities, and so on. And so there's a big need, I think, in a lot of firms for this kind of support network. And it's difficult to have a one-size-fits-all, but everyone has a story to tell. And that turned out to be really useful. And it's still going since I left, actually. Did you ever feel any sort of resentment or discrimination about, you like getting special privileges or something like that? Is that ever an issue?
I felt like before I was diagnosed, I had difficulties in my job, but I didn't know why I was having difficulties. I knew that I couldn't do some of my job properly, and I felt like maybe some people didn't want me to do the job I was in.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to tell people and be transparent about it, and then they realise there's a reason that you need more time or certain things you find difficult. It's not just you like not interested in the job.
Yeah. I don't know how long I can work for, but I have cut my hours down from 40 hours to 30 hours.
Well, what was interesting for me is I actually got when I had Parkinson's, I was going through a promotion process. I sort of had this sort of mental debate about, should I still go for a promotion? Is it going to be really hard?
Yes.
Am I going to be able to do the new role?
Yes.
But I decided to still carry on with the promotion process. I got the promotion, which was actually really useful because it paid more. And I found that the extra money I earned is very useful now. So I would certainly encourage people, while they're still able to carry on working, carry on progressing, because Parkinson's doesn't necessarily stop you doing that, at least not for a few years.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's, subscribe for a new video every Thursday.